we're in Stanley in Hong Kong on a beautiful fine Saturday with fish and chips, our own Ayala Extra Age champagne. The perfect match. The acidity breaks the fat in the fish and chips perfectly, and the intensity of flavour matches perfectly as well. But the reason I wanted to come here is talk about the development of Stanley and how metaphorically it represents the development of fine wine in Hong Kong as well. Because when I first came to Stanley in the 1980s, it was a totally different place than it is now. Back then it was very rustic, it was very kind of almost rural, and it was a place with a whole lot of market stalls, actually some of them quite high quality. And I remember here in 1987 buying a fantastic black leather jacket here. Now this whole area has changed. It's more like you would find in Santa Monica in California, or you would find in Sydney or Auckland in New Zealand, or any of these kind of wonderful Pacific coastal areas, developed coastal areas. And there's been similar development in the fine wine market in Hong Kong as well. The Hong Kong market benefited from duty being taken off wine in 2009, which overnight half the price of fine wine. And what it meant was there was this, in Hong Kong, which is a very rich metropole city, this rush to learn about fine wine, this European product, this fantastic European product, a product from abroad, not a commonplace product in terms of the Chinese culture that is this in Hong Kong. But of course there was that connection with Britain and the British rule and the British way of life. And the British have always drunk champagne and Bordeaux Reds. This is Fleur Parade 2008. This is my house red in my house. When I mean house red, we drink it every day. And white Burgundy as well. This is Chateau London, Macon-Liege, and this is my house white in my house as well in London. And I think that's the key thing, that we have this culture of Europe of drinking wine all the time, and that culture came to Hong Kong in 2009. And there was this fabulous rush and enthusiasm to learn about fine wine. And people started at this level, but they pushed forward to the elite levels of fine wine very quickly in Hong Kong. And it became the place that if you wanted to study and drink the best wines in the world, you would go to Hong Kong. And people felt that the world's fine wine market moved from being Eurocentric in London. It had been developing very significantly in New York for a period of time, particularly during the 80s and the 90s and the noughties as well. So New York was a fabulous fine wine market as well. And then suddenly Hong Kong was this big explosion, this big kind of wanting to learn, and just all these consumers came forward and said, we really want to learn about fine wine. And they did it in typical Asian style. They really decided to go for it and learn and really get into the product. So, Hong Kong is now known as a place where you can drink any type of wine you want, and a place where the consumer is, within under a 10-year period, has become one of the most educated consumers, if not the most educated consumers in the world. And I've seen development in the Hong Kong fine wine market, whereas in 2009 people were wanting to invest in claret. The vintages of 2009 and 2010 came along quite quickly from Bordeaux, which were the most amazing vintages for a very long time. Well, 2005 was pretty good as well, and 2000 was good, but the point being they were amazing vintages. So people really got into buying new wines and investing in claret. Kind of part of the local cultural mentality is to invest in things here. But now the fine wine market in Hong Kong has changed. It's not that dynamic rush forward, it's more the considered, are these the right wines to be putting away? Are we getting the best value for money? We want the best wines in the world, but are they good value for money as well? So the prices have dropped off in the market here. And the other thing which you can experience a lot here is vertical tastings going right back, I mean, on the first growths, right back to, into the early 20th century. I mean, it's quite common to try wines here from the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, right through the great vintages of the 60s as well, and right through. So, and when I meet with our members at Quintessentially, that's really what they want to do. They want to do two things. They want to try back vintages of the classic estates, and the other thing is they wanted to learn about production. They don't really know hands-on much about the production of wines because they're not from a wine producing area. They're not from France where vineyards are all around, or even in the UK. People always travel to France and Italy and Spain, and they saw vineyards. So the people in Hong Kong don't have that experience, and now that's really the next thing that they're reaching out for. So in Hong Kong, we also get a lot of requests to help people travel to wine regions and get access to the great estates in the world and to learn about wine. So the key thing for us in terms of the development of the fine wine market is access to older vintages of fine wine, and that's what we're getting a lot of requests for, and we're spending a lot of our time finding these single cases that might be at the chateau or in Bordeaux negotiants or in London cellars in particular, and moving that wine into the Hong Kong market. That's where we see a lot of requests. We also see requests for education, verticals, right the way through, all the way back. And they want education at a very high standard. They want people that really know about those wineries, about those markets, to come and teach them. And we're seeing requests for people to go and travel to those vineyards as well. They want to go and meet the winemakers, see what it's like to make wine, learn how people make wine. So that's where I see how the Hong Kong market has developed. It's really a lot more developed than it used to be. It's happened very, very quickly since 2009. And it replicates somewhat what's happened to Hong Kong. This kind of great British port city has become, the third or fourth richest city in the world, the capital of Asia, the capital of fine wine market in Asia, and really just a fantastic place to be and hang out.